Hey, what's up, comic fans? Mr. Q Comics back with some more show and tell. All right, today we have got a stack of books. This is all stuff I think I got in February. A few different shops, one local collectible show, and actually I think like three shops I had never hit up in the past. All places I hit up while I was traveling for work. So before we dive into the books, guys, if you're a fan of haul videos, do me a favor, go down below, hit the like button, hit subscribe. Let me know what you think about these pickups. All right. First shop is a place called Galactic Comics. This is in Bangor, Maine. I was up there for work. There's not a ton up there, so if you do venture up to the Maine area, I would recommend, if you're up there, hitting up, I think it's called Comics, Cards, and Collectibles in Waterville as well. There's a couple of cool shops in downtown Portland, Maine as well, but you're about a couple hours between those places. So anyways, this was the first time I had been to this shop. I really enjoyed it. I thought the prices were really fair. Had a lot of toys and stuff like that. It was kind of a disorganized space. I think they had just gotten a bunch of collections, and they had like a back room that had dollar bins and just kind of boxes that he was fine with me going through, but weren't really priced out. So I was able to pick up quite a few really good books here. So let's jump into them. First, we have got this. I've just wanted this for a while. It's just a cool Steranko cover. Nick Fury and his Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. #1. This is just, again, a cool Steranko cover. I love Steranko art. This is from 1973. This one's probably in the fine, very fine range. And with the bundle deal, it kind of worked out to like a little over $4. So I was very happy with that. This thing can go for, it's not super expensive, but in higher grade, probably like a $20 book. But super cool Steranko addition to the PC. Next, we've got a book I have never owned. Not really a character I chase after, but I thought this was a pretty decent copy. It is Batman Adventures Mad Love. I think this is just a one-shot, so I guess this is the second appearance or the origin of Harley Quinn outside of continuity. This one worked out to about $34. It's got some color rub on the spine, so I put it probably in the VF near mint range. Not bad. Can be a fairly pricey book. I think I looked it up. Last 9/8 I saw on GP analysis sold for $350. So I thought that was a pretty cool pickup. I've never really had an opportunity to buy it or, really chasing it, but I thought the price was pretty decent. So I snagged that. Here's a book I'm sure I've shown off recently. This is a book I always grab because I'm a huge McFarland fan. This is a highly sought after cover, and it is just a key for the cover. Batman 423. This one, pretty decent shape. I think this is about VF near mint range, maybe a little higher. I got that for $25. So this is the third print. You can tell it's got the DC Comics Aren't Just for Kids logo there, but then you got to open it up and confirm inside, because the second print has that as well. So this one is the third print. Can be pricey in a 9/8. I think the last sale was about $640 that I saw in GPA. First print of this still goes for like $2,000 in a 9/8. So extremely expensive book and high grade. Definitely took a little bit of a dip from the COVID, but not too bad. I think, some of the sales were averaging more like $2,600 throughout the COVID craze, with maybe a random sale over $3,000, but still $2,000 for this in a 9/8. I had this book as a kid, and it was one I just always loved before I even knew McFarland. So super cool book. I always grab it when I find an affordable copy. Next, we got more McFarland. I grabbed this simply because it's the newsstand copy, Spawn #1. Can be super expensive. This one's got like some color rub or staining on the back. I can't remember what it is, but it's probably in a 7.0 range. Decent deal on it. It was like $40, which I thought was okay. I think the last 9/8 in this was about $600 back in April, down from probably over $1,000 in the COVID spike. So still a cool book. I mean, Spawn #1s are everywhere. So I just have a Spawn one in my collection for nostalgia purposes. But, if I was going to hold on to one, it would be a newsstand copy in a 9/8. But, tough to come by these. I don't see the newsstand a lot. So cool pickup there. All right, next is this is just an awesome John Buscema cover. Fantastic Four #112. This is not in great shape, probably in the VG range. It's got like white out there on the two Fs, but this is just a classic Buscema cover. I love Buscema's art. He's got some amazing covers from the Bronze Age. You got the Silver Surfer 4 there on the left. I think he did #1 as well. Of course, Avengers, I think it's 57, the first Vision. So I love Buscema's artwork. I always love the first ongoing series of Wolverine as well, which is his art, and I just think it's fantastic. So this one's probably in the VG range, and got this for about $34, which I thought was a great price on this. It's just a classic Hulk thing battle on the cover there. And finally, I picked up another copy of Marvel Feature #1, first team appearance of the Defenders. This is, who's on this cover? I can't remember who's on this cover. I don't know if that's, I don't think that's Buscema. I didn't write it down. I forgot who did that cover, but it's the first team appearance of the Defenders. This one's probably, again, in the VG fine range, and this was about $42. So I thought that was another solid pickup as well. So happy to grab those. All right, next, this was hands down the most unique shop I had ever been to. I had, my company has a spot out near Buffalo, and I had seen reviews of this place. One time I was out there and didn't make it out. I think they were closed, but I hit it up this time. This is actually Sweet Jenny chocolates and ice cream in Buffalo, New York. So oddly enough, this gentleman has a, candy and ice cream shop, but he's got comic books in the upstairs. So I went out there. I love comic books. I love ice cream. It was pouring rain. It was a weird day, but I was able to check it out. It was an interesting spot. It's worth checking out, but I found a lot of the books to be overpriced. He has a ton of books that are up there that aren't for sale, but he has on display. So you've kind of got to be, you kind of got to do a little digging. It's a little confusing, to be honest. He happened to be up there. He seemed to be getting annoyed because I was getting confused. He had a ton of books up, but he wasn't selling them. So you had to look for the price tag, and the price tags were not like huge price tags. He just put like regular stickers on them. So if there was a price on it, it was for sale. If there wasn't a price, it wasn't for sale, and they were all mixed up. It was really, really weird, but he had some cool pieces. So a ton of signed stuff up for display. And it was weird the way he organized it. He had just boxes that as he would bring them in, he'd make a new table, and they'd be like alphabetical. So you'd find 6 different tables that were sorted alphabetically based on when he brought them in. So you had to dig through a lot. And I honestly thought a lot of his stuff was overpriced, to be honest. But I was able to find some cool cover art. So first we will start with some Adam Hughes. We've got Wonder Woman 165. Nothing really key about these. I just love Adam Hughes artwork, and I did not have these Wonder Woman covers. And we got 166, which I think is super cool with Batman there as well. So pretty high grade. I think these were both in the VF near mint to near mint range. And these I thought were affordable. These were only like $4. He gave me a discount, and when I got back home after traveling for work, I realized he messed it up. He got it lower than he had told me, so that worked out okay. We got X-Men Worlds Apart #1. I think there's a sketch variant of this as well, and I think I showed this off a few videos ago. I picked up another copy, but again, $4. This is a near mint copy, so I couldn't leave that behind. And I was digging, mainly just targeting these covers because I knew he had some in the boxes. Next is one, I'm super happy to get this. I've never had it. This is beautiful too. This is just a really sharp copy. Vampirella #1 from Dynamite. This is volume 1 from Dynamite. This is just the cover A, but it's just a gorgeous J. Scott Campbell cover. I think it's probably like a $15, $20 book on eBay. Got this worked out to like $6, and I think that one's just awesome. There's so many volumes of Vampirella, but this is the one from 2010 for Dynamite. So psyched to have that. I think there's a couple of sketch variants, one that's a black and white sketch, and one of the ones where it's like red, and one that's blue. But this is just a standard cover A. So really happy to add that. Next, another Campbell cover I have wanted for a bit. I don't typically chase this series, but I do like the covers he did on this run. This is Warlord of Mars, #1 from Dynamite. So I think this is the cover B by Campbell. I think cover A is by Alex Ross. Campbell did a few of the covers. This series is from 2010. There's another one that's John Carter, Warlord of Mars from Dynamite. I think that started in 2014. And there's a bunch of Campbell covers there. And again, same thing, lots of sketch variants, some are blue, some are red, so there's a whole slew of variants. But I had never come across this. I don't find a lot of these Dynamite books, you know, at shops I hit up. So I was psyched to find it. Wasn't cheap. I probably got it for about what it's worth. I ended up paying about 19 bucks for it. Definitely a high grade near mint copy. So I think that's about what you'd probably be able to find it for on eBay if you were patient. I see people listing it higher, but there's a bunch of these out there. But happy to grab that for the PC. And finally there, I got another awesome Hughes cover. This is Zatana number 11. DC, again from 2010, another high-grade copy. I paid about what this one's worth. I got this for 23 bucks. I think on this run, I think his covers start with 11, and then I think they go through 16, something like that. So I think he's got 4 or 5 covers. The big books are 15 and 16. I think 15 is the really highly sought-after one where it's like a black cover. I think she's got cards in her hand. 16 is the one that's red, and she's kind of standing up with the fishnets on, and which I thought I had, but I think I sold it. I think I found it for $1 one time and flipped it. But anyways, super happy to grab this one. I think it's a gorgeous Hughes cover, so really happy to add that to the Hughes collection. All right, next, this was a shop in New Jersey. I think I just saw Erod showing that off a haul from there a month or two ago. And I gotta say, this was one of the better shops I've been to. This is Main Street Comics. It's in Milltown, New Jersey, I think. I only grabbed a couple of things, but man, I thought just organization-wise, on point. Everything was in clean bags and boards, super well organized, easy to find. All the books I thought were priced very reasonably. I mean, everything seemed under FMV. He didn't have a ton of wiggle room. I think a little bit, but honestly, most shops I walk into, their books are still priced way high, and you've got to attempt to negotiate fair prices. This guy, everything in the shop to me was fair and worth buying at the price he had on the sticker. I just grabbed a couple of things because we're trying to kind of cut back. A couple books that were just, you know, better copies for my PC. This is just an awesome Neil Adams cover. Detective 412. Does not get a lot of love, but I think this one is fantastic. This is a nice copy, probably in the VF range. I think it's probably in the 7580 range. Mine was a lot worse. I picked this up for 35 bucks, which I thought was a great price. You know, high grade copies of this, you know, if you get talking 9.4s, 9.6 can be expensive, but this is just one of those Neil Adams covers that doesn't get a ton of attention, and I think it's just phenomenal. So happy to upgrade my copy of that. And next is just a classic from my childhood. This is a huge nostalgia buy. I have a copy I found for 20 bucks years ago, and it was graded as a 9.6. I decided I was going to pick up the raw copy and sell off my slab. This is Thundercats number 1, Star Comics, 1985. This is the first print. I paid 75 bucks for this, but it's a pretty sharp copy. It's probably like a 9.2, 9.4 maybe. Maybe a little better with a clean and press, but I'm not going to get this slab. I'm happy with the raw copy in the PC. Just nostalgic for me. I grew up watching these cartoons, so these are books I want in the collection. You can tell it's the first print because it's got the price is an M, and it's got a 65-cent price. So the second printing is 75 cents, but it's not an M. It's just a regular square price box. And then the third printing is also 75 cents, but it's got that same Marvel M. So that's how you can tell. There's obviously newsstand editions and Canadian price variants, which are super expensive. But I thought that was a great deal. I don't know if this goes for currently, but highly recommend that shop. I'm looking forward to getting back there. He had some great books. And again, pricing I thought was exceptionally fair compared to what I typically see at comic shops. So that was a great shop. I think I only had like 30 minutes or something too between like meetings, so I really did not have a ton of time to dig around, but I did think it was an awesome shop. All right, next we're gonna go to a collectible show I hit up all the time. 2 vendors. One is a vendor I buy from pretty much all the time. I have not been having as many good finds with this vendor. They've been selling a lot more of Whatnot, unfortunately. So a lot of the big books they just sell on Whatnot now, and they always do them at like 9 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, and I can't partake, and I don't really want to sit on a Whatnot auction and get in bidding wars for 2.5, 3 hours. You know, I'd rather just buy these books in person at a show. But I did pick up a few good books. First, we've got Amazing Spider-Man 293. This is just the Kraven's Last Hunt series. I'm a huge Mike Zeck art fan, and I love this cover. Of course, Web 32 is the big one with Spidey coming out of the grave. And I love this run as a kid. I mean, I remember being at my buddy Sean's house and reading the series over and over. His copies, probably. I don't think I had him as a kid, but I'd read all of his comics. He's the one who got me into comics. But just awesome Zek artwork. I totally overpaid for this. I thought it was in better shape. It was like $12, but it's probably a mid-grade copy at best. Next is a pretty good price on this. This is low grade. This is probably VG range. Amazing Spider-Man 265. It's a newsstand copy. First appearance of Silver Sable. This thing has really taken a nosedive, I think. This was going for quite a bit a while ago. I think there was speculation she'd be in the Kraven movie, but I can't remember. But probably a VG copy, but I got it for $6. So I thought for $6, I'm not going to leave that behind. And finally, the last book I picked up from him is Incredible Hulk 102. This is a Marie Severin cover from 1968. So this picks up from Tales to Astonish 101. So this is technically the premiere issue of, I guess, Volume 2, you'd consider it. Of course, Hulk was just issues 1 through 6 when it first came out. But this one can be a pretty expensive book. This isn't in great shape. It's probably in the low VG range. It's got a lot of color rub on the cover. But I paid, let's see, $64, which I thought was a decent deal on that. So happy to grab that. All right. Last stack of books was a guy at the show I had never seen. I think it was like Redbeard Comics or something, because he's got a big red beard. I haven't been able to find him on social media. He told me where I don't think he was on Facebook or Instagram. I can't remember. I have not been able to find the guy, but he had some great books. I know he had like some pre-code horror. I didn't buy it. Funny thing was, some of the books he was selling, I pulled out 2 books that still had my price stickers on them from the antique mall I sell at. So he had just bought a couple of my books, which was kind of funny, because then I just basically was turning around and buying other books back from him. But anyways, first books we got, this was just a cheap book, Lady Rawhide number 3. Again, Adam Hughes cover. This does not go for a lot. You can find this in dollar bins. 1995, Topps Comics. Can't remember if there's another Lady Rawhide cover he did or not, or if it's another Top series. But again, I'm a sucker for Hughes, and for $1 I was going to pick that up. Here's another Hughes I did not have. This is Classic Star Wars New Hope number 2. This is not in great shape, but I think it was like $3. This is probably in mid-grade. It's got a bunch of color breaks. This is Dark Horse in 1994. So they did like Classic Star Wars Return of the Jedi. I think there's an Empire Strikes Back. I'm not sure. And I can't remember which books Hughes did covers of. I know he did for the Return of the Jedi. It's got Slave Leia with Jabba the Hutt, and I can't remember the other ones. But again, I'm always a sucker for Hughes, so I think this was like $3. So I'd like to get a better copy, but that's one I don't come across too much. Next, we got some more Hughes. One I did not have. This is Spoof Comics. Number 1, Spider-Femme. So I think he did like 5 or 6 covers for this this run, and they're all like spoof characters. This one's a newsstand, but I don't know if they all have the newsstand on them. I can't remember. I think I paid $7 for this. It's probably in the VF range, probably about what it's worth. So this is a series from 1992, and it's just all the covers are spoofs of I don't know if they're all Marvel characters. I don't think they are, because I think there's like a Justice League one, but it's like Justice Babes or something, and that's done by Hughes. And there's a Daredevil one that kind of looks more like Catwoman to me, but just a cool Hughes cover I did not have, so I was happy to find that. Next is a super beat up copy of Amazing Spider-Man 252. It's a newsstand, but man, this is rough. It's tough to find one this beat up for a modern book. Of course, the first black costume from 1984. So this is probably in the good, very good range. A ton of creasing and tears, but man, he gave it to me cheap. So it was less than $30. So I wasn't leaving that behind for whatever it worked out to. $28 when I bundled it with everything. So definitely a good pickup there. Even in low grade, that is a good entry level copy for a new collector. All right, final 2 books. I'm just a sucker for this book. I think this is an awesome Kirby cover. Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos, number 13. This is the first meeting of Nick Fury and Captain America. It's just an awesome cover. I mean, best book in the run, probably the most expensive being, of course, issue number 1. But this is not in great shape. Again, probably good, very good range. But this worked out to like $55, which I think is a solid price. It's just an awesome Awesome cover by Kirby from 1964. I think this is from. Yeah, 1964. So really happy to find another copy of that. And finally, this is a pretty big key book. I had it, and I think I traded it last year at the old school comic show. I think I had a 3.5 or something, but he gave me a pretty decent price. This is probably what this is worth right now. I think I picked up a copy of Iron Man #1. This one is graded. Let's see if I can fit it in the frame here. All right, I think that works. Yeah. Graded a 4.5. It is off-white to white pages, but a pretty solid copy. Of course, the first solo series here. Story continues from Iron Man and Submariner #1. You've got the origin retold, and it's a Gene Colan cover from 1968. Just a classic cover. So I paid, this worked out to like $405, something like that. I think everything I got for like $500 from this guy in cash, which I thought was okay. Wasn't a great deal, but I didn't think it was a terrible price. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I was kind of regretting trading away the Iron Man one I had last year. But this is a pretty decent copy, so I cannot complain about that. So that is it for the haul, guys. Again, if you're a fan of haul videos, do me a favor, go down below, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and leave me some comments about what you think about these books. Talk to you soon.